something is wrong. But you can't name it. Life is fine. Nothing is falling apart. No crisis, no emergency. And yet there is this low hum of unease sitting inside your chest. This feeling that something is about to go wrong. That peace is temporary. That you should be worried about something, even if you don't know what. Most people assume this feeling means something bad is coming. They start scanning their life for the problem. They go through their relationships, their finances, their health, searching, analyzing, bracing, and when they can't find a real problem, they create one. Not intentionally, not consciously, but the mind starts building a threat out of nothing. This is not weakness. This is not anxiety disorder. This is something much deeper, something wired into the architecture of who you have learned to be. Your nervous system doesn't just react to the world, it expects it. And if your nervous system was built inside chaos, calm doesn't feel like safety. Calm feels like danger. Think about that for a moment. Not because something is wrong with your life, because something has been conditioned into your nervous system for a very long time. The human brain is a pattern machine. It is not designed to make you happy. It is designed to keep you alive. And it does that by learning what familiar feels like and returning to it. Over and over, regardless of whether that familiar thing is good for you. If you grew up in emotional chaos, tension in the house, unpredictable relationships, constant low-level stress, your nervous system learned a very specific signal. It learned that this is what being alive feels like. This is what normal feels like. This is what home feels like. So when your adult life becomes quiet, when the chaos is gone, when there is no emergency demanding your attention, your brain doesn't celebrate. It panics. Because the signal it has been tracking for years has suddenly disappeared. And the brain interprets that disappearance not as peace, but as a warning. Something must be wrong. Because nothing feels wrong. This is called nervous system conditioning, and it runs deeper than your thoughts. It runs beneath your choices, beneath your logic, beneath your best intentions. It is the invisible blueprint your body uses to interpret reality, and it will manufacture chaos to match what it knows, even when your external life refuses to provide it. This is why you overthink. Not because you enjoy suffering, not because you are dramatic, but because your mind is doing exactly what it was trained to do. It is generating internal turbulence to replace the external turbulence that is no longer there. The thoughts come in waves. What if this falls apart? What if they leave? What if I'm missing something? What if everything is fine right now but won't be soon? These are not warnings. These are simulations. Your mind, trained on chaos, running its familiar program, even on a quiet afternoon when nothing is actually wrong. You have to understand something important. The mind is not your enemy, but it is loyal to what it knows, not to what is true, not to what is safe, not to what you consciously want for your life, only to what is familiar. And if struggle is familiar, if tension is familiar, if waiting for the next problem is familiar, then your mind will protect that pattern with everything it has. It will convince you that you are being realistic, that other people are simply naive, that staying worried is actually responsible, that calm is irresponsible, that peace means you are not paying enough attention. And this is the trap, because you cannot think your way out of a nervous system pattern. You cannot logic your way into feeling safe. The pattern doesn't live in your mind. It lives in the body, in the breath, in the tension your muscles hold even when you are sitting, perfectly still. Watch yourself right now. Are your shoulders relaxed? Is your jaw loose? Is your breath slow and low and easy? Or are you slightly braced, waiting for something you cannot even name? That bracing is not preparation. That is your nervous system living inside a threat that no longer exists, but that your body still believes is completely real. This is what no one tells you about the mind. It is not neutral. It is not objective. It is a filter, and that filter was shaped entirely by your past. Every experience you carried, every moment of instability, every relationship that felt unpredictable, every time you had to stay alert just to feel safe, that was stored, not in memory you can easily recall, in the body, in the nervous system, in the automatic responses you have spent years calling your personality. The anxiety that rises for no reason is not random. The overthinking that starts the moment life gets good is not coincidence. The quiet pull toward tension when everything around you is finally calm is not self-destruction for the sake of it. It is loyalty. Deep, unconscious loyalty to a version of life your nervous system was trained to expect. And until that system learns something new, until it experiences slowly and repeatedly that calm is not a threat, it will keep doing what it has always done. It will keep generating problems from the inside when none exist on the outside. Not because you are broken, because you are patterned. There is a difference. Broken cannot be changed. Patterned can. But only when you stop trying to fix your thoughts and start understanding what your nervous system has been trying to protect you from all along. There is a word people use a lot: addiction. Most people connect it to substances, to alcohol, to drugs, to things you consume. But the most invisible addiction on earth has nothing to do with what you put in your body. It has everything to do with what your body has learned to feel. You can become addicted to an emotional state. Not because you chose it, not because you enjoy it, but because your body has been soaked in it for so long that it has become the baseline, the default, the thing your system returns to when nothing else is pulling it somewhere. Stress, worry, tension, the low hum of something being wrong. These are not just feelings. For many people, these are the most familiar chemicals their body knows how to produce. And the body, like any system, craves what it knows. It craves its own chemistry. Scientists have studied this. When you experience an emotion repeatedly, your cells begin to anticipate it. Your body starts to expect that feeling the way it expects hunger, the way it expects sleep. And when that feeling doesn't come, when the stress is absent, when the worry has no real target, when life goes quiet, the body sends a signal, a pull, a subtle, almost unconscious urge to find something to feel bad about. Not because you are weak, because you are chemically familiar with a particular emotional state. And familiarity to the nervous system feels like home. This is the addiction no one talks about, the addiction to your own suffering. And the cruelest part of it is that it happens completely beneath awareness. You don't sit down and decide to be anxious. You don't consciously choose to overthink. You don't plan to ruin a peaceful moment. It just happens. The thought arrives. The worry surfaces. The chest tightens. And before you even realize what is happening, you are already inside the familiar feeling. Already home. Think about the last time something in your life was genuinely going well. A period of calm. A stretch of days where nothing was wrong. What happened inside you? Did you fully relax into it? Or did something in you stay slightly alert, slightly waiting, slightly suspicious of the peace? Most people, if they are honest, will admit that good periods make them nervous. Not in an obvious way. Not in a way they would say out loud. But underneath, there is this quiet voice that says, "This won't last. Something is coming. Enjoy this while you can." That voice is not wisdom. That voice is your nervous system refusing to believe that safety is real. Because it has never fully learned what real safety feels like. It has only learned how to survive. And survival mode is a very specific state. It is alert. It is scanning. It is always slightly braced. And the problem is, survival mode was designed for emergencies. It was designed to activate, help you get through the threat, and then switch off. But for many people, it never switched off. The emergency passed. The childhood ended. The difficult season moved on. But the nervous system kept the alarm running. Kept the body in that state of low readiness. Kept the mind producing threat assessments for a war that was already over. And over time, that state stopped feeling like emergency mode. It started feeling like personality. You started calling it being realistic, being responsible, being someone who doesn't get their hopes up, being someone who plans for the worst. You built an entire identity around a survival response that was never supposed to be permanent. This is one of the most important things you will ever understand about yourself. Your anxiety is not who you are. Your overthinking is not your intelligence. Your inability to fully relax is not a character trait. It is a nervous system that never received the signal that the danger was over. And so it kept going, kept producing, kept generating internal noise to fill the silence that calm creates. Because silence, to a conditioned nervous system, is not peaceful. Silence is suspicious. Silence means you might be missing something. Silence means the threat is hiding rather than absent. And so the mind fills the silence with thoughts about the future, with replays of the past, with hypothetical disasters that exist nowhere except inside the architecture of a nervous system that learned the world was not safe. This is why calm feels uncomfortable, not metaphorically, physically. When you try to sit in genuine stillness, when you try to rest without guilt, to be present without scanning, to feel okay without needing a reason, the body resists. There is a restlessness, a pulling, an itch towards something, toward doing, fixing, planning, worrying, anything that breaks the stillness and returns to the familiar state of being in motion against a threat. That resistance is not laziness. That is your nervous system protecting you from a peace it doesn't yet know how to trust. And here is what makes this so difficult. The mind is incredibly creative when it comes to generating problems. It doesn't need a real threat. It can construct one. It will take a neutral situation and find the danger in it. It will take a kind word from someone and search it for hidden meaning. It will take a moment of happiness and immediately calculate how it might be taken away. This is not pessimism as a philosophy. This is a nervous system doing its job, protecting you from pain by anticipating it before it arrives. But when that mechanism runs constantly, when there is no off switch, it stops being protection. It becomes the problem itself. The thing you are afraid of losing is being destroyed by the fear of losing it. The peace you want is being dismantled by the part of you that doesn't believe peace is allowed. And the tragedy is, most people never question this. They assume this is just how they are, that some people are worriers, that some people can't relax, that anxiety is simply part of their makeup. They don't realize they are living inside a pattern that was installed long before they were old enough to choose anything different. They don't realize that the chaos inside their mind is not a reflection of their life. It is an echo of a life they already lived, a time that has passed, a version of the world that no longer exists, except in the nervous system that remembers it, as if it was yesterday. And that echo keeps playing, keeps creating, keeps manufacturing the feeling of chaos even inside the quietest life. Because the system doesn't know the danger is over. Because no one ever told it. Because you never learned how. But that changes when you understand what is actually happening, not just intellectually, not just as an idea you find interesting, but deeply. In the place where patterns live, in the place where the body holds what the mind has long forgotten. That is where the real shift begins, and that is exactly where we are going next. You already know something most people never figure out. You know that the chaos isn't coming from outside. You know that the problem isn't your life. You know that the mind, your mind, has been running a program that was written in a different time under different circumstances by a version of you that needed it to survive. That version of you was smart. That version of you was adaptive. That version of you did exactly what it needed to do to get through what it was facing. But that version of you is not who you are anymore. And the program it wrote does not belong in the life you are living now. This is the part that requires real honesty. Not the kind of honesty that feels good. The kind that is quiet and uncomfortable and sits with you after everything else has gone still. Because the question is not just why does my mind create problems? The deeper question is, what would happen if it stopped? Who would you be without the worry, without the overthinking, without the low hum of tension that has become so familiar you have started to call it yourself? Most people, when they sit with that question honestly, feel something unexpected, not relief, fear, because the identity built around struggle is still an identity. And the mind will protect an identity, even a painful one, before it will step into the unknown of becoming someone new. This is how survival mode becomes self-concept. This is how the nervous system pattern moves out of the body and into the story you tell about who you are. I am someone who worries. I am someone who can't relax. I have always been like this. This is just how my mind works. These are not observations. These are decisions. Unconscious ones, but decisions nonetheless. And every time you repeat them, every time you confirm them with your behavior, every time you return to the familiar chaos when peace becomes available, you are choosing the old pattern over the new life. Not because you are weak, because identity is powerful, because the mind will always move toward what it believes is true about you, and if it believes you are someone who cannot handle peace, it will make sure you never have to. It will generate thoughts. It will create tension. It will find problems in perfectly fine situations. It will keep you exactly where it believes you belong. This is the sabotage that happens without intention. This is why people leave good relationships when they start to feel too stable. This is why people self-destruct right at the edge of a breakthrough. This is why the version of life you have been working toward somehow keeps feeling out of reach. Not because you are not capable, but because a part of you doesn't believe it is meant for you. Doesn't believe you are the kind of person who gets to have it. And that belief doesn't live in your thoughts, it lives in your nervous system. In the automatic pullback to chaos. In the subtle discomfort of things going well. In the quiet but powerful resistance to a life that feels too easy, too calm, too different from what you have always known. So what changes this? Not motivation, not positive thinking, not telling yourself to calm down. What changes this is something slower. Something that happens beneath the level of thought. It is the experience of surviving stillness, not forcing yourself to be calm, not pretending the discomfort isn't there, but sitting inside it and letting your nervous system learn slowly through repetition that nothing bad happens in the quiet. That calm is not the absence of safety, that peace is not a trap, that you are allowed to stop bracing for something that is not coming. This takes time, because the nervous system does not update through logic. It updates through experience, through the slow accumulation of moments where stillness was safe, where peace was real, where nothing collapsed just because you stopped anticipating the collapse. Every time you choose not to manufacture a problem, every time you let a good moment be good without immediately calculating its expiration, every time you sit in the discomfort of calm and stay there anyway, you are sending a new signal to a very old system. You are telling it quietly, through action rather than words, we are safe now. The threat is over. You can rest. And at first it won't believe you. At first the resistance will be strong. The mind will offer thoughts. The body will offer tension. The familiar pull toward chaos will feel more real than the peace you are trying to inhabit. Let it be there. Don't fight it. Don't try to think it away. Just notice it and stay anyway. Because the pattern cannot survive your continued presence in the thing it fears. It cannot maintain the illusion of danger when you keep choosing stillness and nothing happens. It cannot keep telling you that calm is unsafe when your lived experience starts to say otherwise. This is not a quick process. There is no single realization that rewires a nervous system built over years. But there is a moment, a quiet, unannounced moment, when something inside you shifts. When the stillness stops, feeling like a warning and starts feeling like something else. Something unfamiliar but not threatening. Something new. And in that moment, you will understand something that cannot be explained to someone who has not felt it. You will understand that peace was never the absence of something. It was always the presence of something you had never been taught to recognize. A nervous system that finally believes it is safe. A mind that no longer needs to manufacture emergencies to feel alive. An identity that is no longer built on surviving, but on something quieter, something steadier, something that doesn't need chaos to confirm that it exists. You were not born anxious. You were not born to overthink. You were not born with a mind that creates problems out of nothing. You were taught to expect danger. You were conditioned to stay alert. You learned in a time when you had no choice. That calm was something you could not trust. But that time is over. And the most important thing you can do, not tomorrow, not when life gets easier, not when you figure out the right method, is to begin, right now, to let your nervous system learn something it has never fully known, that you are no longer in that place, that the version of life that required this level of alertness is behind you, that the quiet is not hiding something, that the peace is not a trick, that you are allowed fully, completely, without condition, to stop waiting for something to go wrong, and to finally, for the first time in a long time, let things be fine.